My name's Angelo, and welcome to We Want Picks. This is the only channel dedicated to UFC fight picks and DraftKings lineups run by MMA insiders and professional fighters. Every week, I join Dan Kramer and Nick Newell, two longtime professional fighters that have fought at the highest levels on the planet, as well as Jacob Lyons, a skinny kid from Indiana. So join us every single week for our full fight card breakdowns, our individual fight card breakdowns, our betting guide, and our DraftKings lineups. Next up at UFC Vegas 25, we have the co-main event between Cub Swanson and Giga Chikadze in a fun fight. Every fight Cub Swanson is a fantastic fight. The guy comes to fight. He's a ton of fun to watch. He's the underdog. He should be the underdog. Giga is in my lineup, as he should be in everybody's lineup. And if you pick Cub Swanson to win, you're a ginger. Jacob, how do you see this fight going?
Yeah, I just want to talk about loyalty for a second, because I think that's important in life. I think that when I was anointed the people's champ, I think it was a thing that people propped me up as the people's champ because the lock of the week was on this high trend. And it's easy to follow a trend when it's when it's winning every week. But who's going to stick with me the last couple of weeks? This has been, some trying times, but I think the lock of the week, the past couple of weeks, we've seen nobody's getting starched, right? Burchek, I said he'd get a guillotine. He got a guillotine. He lost it. Liang Na, I said she would come on forward and dominate. She dropped the girl with the first punch. Okay. So if you're going to stick with me, you got to stick with me through thick and thin, because this week, this might be a rough one, guys. And I'm telling you right now, it's just because this is pure bias. Everyone has that one fighter that they just fell in love with when they started watching the UFC. Everyone's got, whether it's way back in the 90s, the early 2000s. For me, it was Cub Swanson. When I watched the UFC, one of the first fights I watched, I can't remember what fight it was for him, but for some reason, I just have absolutely fallen in love with Cub Swanson, the way he fought. He's been my favorite fighter since I've been watching the UFC. So I knew anytime that he's on the card, I knew he was going to be an underdog in this fight. I actually thought he'd be an even bigger underdog against Giga, because Giga is an unreal fighter. So at plus 160 and $7,600, I was actually kind of hoping Cub would be like in that $7,200 range, which is where I think he probably should be. But Cub has a way of just winning fights he probably shouldn't win. I mean, he's got all this experience. He's got all the tools to win this fight. I think Giga is definitely better, but Cub, this is a very biased pick because I love Cub, but I think he's definitely not a slouch. So this isn't like a shot in the dark. He is my lock of the week. That is out of pure bias. I would recommend probably not going that way. But if you're with me, this is about loyalty. You got to be with me.
Oh my God,
guys. And even with my two back-to-back losses, I'm still 7 out of my last 10 picking an underdog every single week. That's still pretty crazy. I think you guys got to admit. 7 out of 10 picking an underdog every single week is still pretty good. That's 70%. I did the math. So Cub Swanson, he is my lock of the week. That's out of pure bias, but I actually think that he has a path to victory here. I don't know what it is, but he just finds ways to win. He's so good. He's so much fun to watch. I love Cub Swanson. So he's my lock of the week. He's in my lineup. I have him winning. I'm going to put money on him. And this more or less, I could see this being a more and more fight, just the way that Cub fights. He's very in your face, and Giga can get in those striking battles as well. So I have Cub lock of the week. We're going to get back on track this week. He's going to pull it out. So I got Cub lock of the week. He's in my lineup.
Jacob is such a big Cub Swanson fan. The first time he fell in love with Cub Swanson was when he did that TikTok video on the skateboard, listening to Fleetwood Mac, drinking cranberry juice. As soon as Jacob saw that, he's like, oh man, I gotta look up this guy. He's been watching him ever since. It's been at least, a year or so.
Nah, it's been 5 or 6 months.
Yeah.
He's been my favorite fighter forever.
Hardcore fan after that TikTok video.
Yeah, this will be an interesting one. So I think Cub loses. I think he's much taller. He's a better striker. He uses range really, really well. And I think that's what's going to happen. He's going to keep Cub away, pick him apart, and just beat him up like that. I think you mentioned what Cub's path to victory is. I think it's grappling. I think he needs to close that distance, take down Giga, and do something there, because he's not going to outstrike him. There's just too much. Giga's
Cub is an incredible boxer, man. I mean, people underestimate his striking. You just saw that last fight too. He was not supposed to win that last fight and just absolutely flatline that guy. So, I mean, I agree that he's probably not as good a striker as Giga, but he's no slouch with the striking.
No, he's not. I mean, Cub Swanson's a legend for a reason. So this isn't, and he's obviously slowed down. He's obviously, at the end of his career and on the way out. And this is designed to build Giga up. I think Cub could win. It wouldn't be ridiculous if he did. I just think Giga's too good on his feet. He's too long. He uses range too well, and he will be faster. So for Cub to win, he needs to take him down. The strike line's interesting. I would actually swip it. Swip's a word now. I would flop it or switch it. And I would do less on Cub and more on Giga. So I just think Giga is at range, throwing the shots, keeping him away. And Cub's trying to work his way in and close that distance. And he's getting hit every single time on his way in. Dan, you like to go with vets in these situations. Are you doing that here?
Hell yeah, he is.
This is a tough one. I don't think I am. I mean, Cub has looked impressive lately. I'm just actually looking something up right now. He has only had one out of his 11 losses. Only one has been by knockout. So that's interesting in this fight. So I broke down tape on both these guys, and going into it, I was like, man, I want to pick Cub. I hope he wins this fight. Guy's just like a legit OG in the sport. He's just a cool dude. He's fought everybody. But I think this is just a tough matchup for him. It's a tough matchup for anybody. And I think Chikadze is still evolving as an MMA fighter. His striking is unbelievably good. He's got that karate style. He's got experience. He's on a 7-fight win streak, 5 in the UFC. He trains at King's MMA, so really good camp. He's got a lot of good partners with, grappling, wrestling. So it's not like he's not getting looks of kind of every possible style. But I think striking wise, he's on a different level, and every fight he's starting to show it more. He's got incredible kicks to everywhere, head, chest, calf, you name it. He controls the distance really well, and he uses it too. He combines it with his footwork as his defense. Like there's guys who I talk about with their hands low. He's one of those guys who's so good with his footwork and distance control that he can keep his hands low and still kind of avoid getting hit clean, at least. The other thing I like that he does is he mixes his shots in well. He throws straight shots, and then he'll throw powerful looping shots, and he'll throw them in combinations. So it's not like he's only a point fighter, karate. Like, he'll mix in these big hooks that can put guys away. So I was very impressed with his striking abilities. He's looked good in all of his recent fights. The Omar Morales fight, going into that fight, I was like, that's going to be a tough fight for him. And he looked great. Solid takedown defense. Ended up on his back at one point from a slip and scrambled up, no problem. So I think Chikadze is a very good fighter and probably still improving. Cub Swanson, on the other hand, like I said, the guy's a legit OG, 37 years old. He's fought everybody. Was on a 4-fight skid against all top competition, obviously. And then he's won his last 2 against Kron Gracie and a very tough Daniel Pineda. So, he's streaking lately. He's just older in his career. I think it's a tough matchup. I wouldn't be surprised if he landed a big shot. His style and his skills are such that he could do that. He could figure out a way to land a big bomb, make it interesting. I think he will make this a fight. I just think Chikadze is so good at what he does that he's going to be able to land the cleaner shots, land more shots, control the distance, and just really, really, I don't want to say pick him apart because it's not going to be a one-sided beating, I don't think, but I think he's going to clearly pull ahead in this fight. I don't think I'll get a stoppage. Maybe he does, but I think he's going to win and just dominate with the cleaner, crisper striking. So Chikadze is my pick. I'm actually reworking my lineup right now so I can try to get him in there. But there's probably value on Cub too. I don't think he'll get put away. So
he's not cheap though. He's not cheap. 70, like Jacob said, $7,600.
Well, I think DraftKings. I think now that once they figure out what the lock of the week, I don't think they're going to put a lock of the week under $7,500 anymore. I think that's just the way it's designed.
DraftKings for the first time ever will change their the values of these guys after Jacob announces his lock of the week.
Watch these odds move.
Yeah,
it is.
Listen, Cub is sneaky fast, man. Even at 37 years old, he's sneaky fast, and he does, and he's not afraid to do wild stuff if he knows he's losing, spinning back fists and just weird stuff to try and win the fight. So weird exchanges happen. I'm just saying. So
the one thing that worries me a little bit, and it was only a small window of time, but in that Pineda fight, early on in the fight, very early on, probably the first 2 minutes only, Pineda was just kicking his legs. It almost looked like in the first 2 minutes, like, oh man, we're going to see Cub get dominated here. And then he landed a big shot, and it changed the whole trajectory of the fight. And Cub's a veteran. He stayed on top of him, and he won. He kept putting on. But in those first 2 minutes, you got a glimpse of what I think Chikadze can probably do for 3 rounds. So that's kind of why I'm going with him. But I think it'll be a fun fight no matter what.
Yeah, Giga should definitely win. But when Cub wins and I rattle off 7 more lock of the weeks in a row, I don't want to hear you talking in 7 weeks about, oh, I was there since day one. If you can't support me with Cub after back-to-back losses, I don't want to hear you in 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 7 weeks, 13 weeks.
Now he's yelling at I didn't know who he was talking to. I was like,
he's really turned weird.
Now he's turning on the fans.
No, I'm not turning on the people. I'm the people's champ. The people will support me. There's some fringe people, and I see them when all of a sudden they're switching from they were about mine. Now it's like, oh, I think I like Dan's line. I think I like Angelo. If you're with me, you got to be with me. You got to be with me.
Jacob gets very jealous in the comments. Very jealous. Do not compliment anybody else's lineup, even if they go 6 for 6 a couple weeks in a row.
If you guys have kids to feed, do not listen to Jacob. Don't.
Well, in all fairness to Jacob, if you're trying to make money and you went with his lock of the week at the odds, you'd be up some pretty good money right now over the last 10 weeks.
Unreal money.
Again, we just forget how many wins he gives himself that aren't actually wins. So, but 7 of 10 without double checking that, it's pretty good.
7 of 10. It's 7 of 10. My 3 losses were Rojo, which was he was winning that fight. Burchek almost won the fight, and Na Liang, who dropped the girl in the first punch. I mean, these are unreal picks. Even my 3 losses, they all had a chance to win. They weren't. It's not like they're getting starched or dominated. It's unreal. I'm surprised how good. I mean, I'm even surprised myself still.
Okay.
How good.
All right, we need to move on.
And in your wins, you have the one where the fight didn't happen.
I have one.
Just want to clarify.
There is one in
I
there.
wonder what the payout was on that on your.
It was Chaz Skelly.
Right. Okay. That's one of the
Did you
7.
see Jacob's face when you brought that up? He melted.
I mean, everyone knows that Chaz. I mean, that's still a win. The guy never even showed up. He was so scared. Still a win.
Right, we're moving on. We just want to give a giant thank you to all of our members and to everybody who donated this week, specifically Jesse Correa, Dunchichi, Chris Jory, David Raymond, Chris Toronto, Ansi Music, and Jill Gretka. Thank you all very, very much. If anybody is interested in becoming a member, there is a join button down below. You'll get a fancy little crown in the comment section. If you're interested in sharing the wealth from all of our fantastic picks, there's a donation link in the description below. Thank you all very, very much for the support. It is much appreciated, and everything goes right back in this channel to give you the best possible production and best picks on the planet.
Definitely appreciate all you guys watching. Love interacting with you guys in the comments. So keep writing comments. We'll keep going back and forth. Jacob and I will keep arguing, or Jacob and Angelo will keep arguing. But really appreciate you guys tuning in and watching.
Get your crowns.
Before you go, check out the description below. In there, we have links to our Facebook, our Twitter, our Instagram, and more importantly, to our DraftKings League. Check out the league, join the league, participate in the contests, and as we get going and as you start winning, we're going to start handing out gift cards and participating and doing things like that. So check those out. Every week, there are drops on every fight card. So make sure you check out this channel and our social media on Saturday before the fights start so that you have our most updated lineups and picks.